It's a new setup. Hello and welcome back to you all for the very first time to the channel. If you have been here before, you may notice there's been quite a big change to the setup. So my brother Ed moved out, who I run the Brothers Gwyn with, and now I'm using my bookshelves, and so I've spent all day setting this up, and it's one of the great things as a book lover, isn't it? Setting up your bookshelves exactly how you want them. And so I'm not quite done. There's still some more books to move in. There's some empty spaces just like there, so hopefully it doesn't annoy you too much seeing that. But as I said, new setup, really looking forward to it. It will change quite a bit in the next few weeks, I imagine. But today we are here to talk about my mid-month update for January, the first month of 2023. And so, have I stuck to my schedule of what I intended to read in January? Let's find out. Starting with what I've already read in January, I read The Passenger by Cormac McCarthy. So this is very different from his previous books that I've read by him. I've read The Road, No Country for Old Men, and Blood Meridian. Possibly, arguably, his three most famous. But The Passenger is very different. It's much more reflective, perhaps, on a bit more of an emotional side. Definitely that kind of relationship between love, regret, and guilt, which is very powerful. But amongst that, you still have that certain McCarthy-ness, which is very hard to pin down to one element. But yeah, McCarthy, he really presents his own style here as well, even though the themes are quite different from his previous works. But The Passenger was, what a read, very powerful, very impactful. And yes, one that will, you know, it will just last in the memory for many a year to come. And so hopefully I'll be putting a review dedicated to just The Passenger up on the channel at some point soon. Next up, I read Crusaders by the non-fiction writer Dan Jones. Well, I say non-fiction writer, but he has also written one historical fiction book as well, which I absolutely loved last year. It's called Essex Dogs. And yeah, there it is right here. Essex Dogs, which is historical fiction, did a dedicated review of it on the Brothers Gwyn channel. But today I'm here to talk about one of his non-fiction works, and that is Crusaders, which it is what it says on the tin. It's about the Crusades, about how they evolved to happen in the first place, kind of the politics, the behind-the-scenes machinations that we know of, and what we can kind of glean in between the cracks of what we weren't told explicitly as well. And Dan Jones, I think he's a brilliant historian who he shows you all the different options. He says what most people may believe, most historians, experts may believe is true, and then he says whether he agrees or disagrees, and kind of he tries to keep as unbiased as possible. But he also has a very distinct style, and he lets us know his opinion. But I really like that he makes sure to not confuse that with fact, and he's very clear with us, the readers, the audience. He makes sure that we know that this isn't fact, this is his own belief, his own opinions, his own conjecture on all the information that he has looked at. And so yeah, I really like that kind of distinction between facts and, as I said, opinion, and it really creates a really interesting read that you can really believe and feel you feel confidence when you're reading Dan Jones's non-fiction. And yes, great. As I said, he has a very distinctive style, which is very engaging, where non-fiction, I know, can come across quite dry, but Dan Jones really avoids that. And Crusaders is just another example of what a great historical non-fiction writer he is. Next up, I have a book that really kick-started a whole new phase to my reading life, and it is quite a formative read as well. And this is Legend by David Gemmell, the very renowned fantasy author. I've now read 11 books, I believe, by him, and he is just an exceptional writer, in amongst my favourites of all time. And Legend was his debut and the first book that I read by him. And it's always a bit nerve-wracking for me, anyway, returning to a read that is so high in my esteem, especially when it's a book that I read as a child. I wasn't a child, I was a teenager. I think I was 13 or 14, but still, that was 7 or 8 years ago. So yeah, it was quite a long while ago. I don't remember all of it. I remember big parts, and that shows what a visceral read Legend is. But as I said, I had this little nervous edge as I was returning to Legend. Was it going to be as good as I remembered, or was it going to be a bit of a disappointment? Well, I'm very happy to say this was brilliant. It really rose to my expectations, and it met them, and at places actually exceeded them as well, because there are some little more side plots that I'd forgotten about that I was reminded of as I read through this, and absolutely loved them. David Gemmell presents heroes almost like no other, where they are stained. We are shown their virtues and their flaws. And I absolutely love how he does it in a brilliant way, where they are heroes and they're good at their core. But as I said, they have big faults as well, and they seem human and real. And I can't say all of these other things that I've learned since reading it about the background of what influenced certain characters, because it would come into spoiler territory. But I will be doing a review of Legend on the channel soon, and maybe at the end of that I'll do a little spoiler chat session and yeah, talk about some of these things that I've learned, which are absolutely awesome. It's so much fun learning about the background and creation of a book that you loved, and I'm very glad to say Legend was absolutely brilliant. High fantasy at its best. It's basically a small army defending what's basically Minas Tirith, but it's holding a pass, and it kind of it's what the only entrance into this empire, and they're being attacked by a great horde, and this castle is understaffed. It has hardly anyone there, and they have to defend this place and hold it. And Druss, the legend, he is also known as Deathwalker. He is a legendary warrior of years past, and he is present at this siege, and it is just a tale of so much that we love about fantasy, but as I said, adding in that kind of humanity and heart to it as well. So yeah, absolutely love Legend, and I'm looking forward to doing a review on it on the channel. Let me know if you've read any David Gemmell, or if you're looking to, because I find on BookTube especially, he's not talked about enough. Now on to the fourth and final book that I've read in January thus far, and that is Mayflies by Andrew O'Hagan. So this is a book that has been adapted recently into a 2-episode series, and I absolutely loved it. So I thought I just have to read the book, don't I? And it's quite short, so I could fit it into the schedule. So I threw it into the mix and I just dived in. And so this is about a group of friends who, in the 1980s, they go to a festival, and it really kind of, that weekend really summarises a lot of their life and really encaptures a lot of how they view their own identity. And then that's the first half of the book, and in the second half we jump 30 years in the future. We see where these friends have ended up, have they stayed, has their relationships grown, how have they changed as human beings, and we really see that link between childhood and adulthood, how have they dealt with the trials and tribulations thrown their way. And so the main character is called Jimmy, his friend calls him Noodles, and it's really, this friend is the narrator, and he's really talking about his best friend Tully Dawson. And so the book is really about Tully Dawson, but also about Jimmy as well, and the core of the story is their friendship. And so 30 years on, Tully has some news, and I won't say any more than that because, again, spoiler territory, and we don't want to be getting into that. But another book that I absolutely loved. What a start to 2023 has been reading wise. 4 books, all great, and Mayflies is absolutely exceptional, and is probably in my favourite books of all time. I absolutely love a lot of the themes that are battled in this, but in a very natural, organic way. I think this may be the book that looks at and captures a friendship better than anything else I've ever read. It's so organic and, as I said, natural, and a brilliant read. Very powerful, very short. I highly recommend it to everyone out there. It's one of those books that I think transcends genre and everyone would enjoy to some extent, because the themes are so relatable to everyone. So yeah, they are the 4 books that I read in January thus far. This is the mid-month update. So yeah, this is the 17th as I'm recording, so just over halfway through, and I've read 4 books. I think I had 8 on schedule to read that I did on the Brothers Gwyn January TBR pile. And so if you want to see all my plans, head over to that video. But as I said, there's 8 books I mentioned that, but I did not talk about Mayflies because I hadn't planned to read it then. So if I keep on schedule, I will read 9 books in January. And you know what? I think I can get there. At the moment, I'm currently reading A Night of Flames by Matthew Harvey, which is historical fiction, the sequel to A Time for Swords, which I've really enjoyed. It's about the origins of the Norse threat on the English shores, those first few raids. And this is the sequel to that, A Night of Flames. It's really great to be with this cast of characters. Book 1 really has a bit of a Magnificent Seven element, which is done brilliantly. And I've read 5 books by Matthew Harvey now, and he has really asserted himself as a very capable author, and one that I trust. Whatever I read of his, I feel confident that I will go away have very satisfied and having enjoyed the read. So yes, A Night of Flames. I'm about, well, I think about 50 pages through this now, and I'm really enjoying it. It's just a return to Matthew Harvey's style, which is very accessible, very easy to read, very easy to immerse yourself in. And so yeah, that is A Night of Flames, and really enjoying it thus far. Great to have some historical fiction this year already. And then next up, I am also reading at the moment Unsouled by Will White. I think I accidentally called it Soulsmith in the January TBR video, but that is book 2 of the Cradle series. But I'm reading Unsouled, book 1 of Cradle by Will White, very famed now, and I'm reading it on the Kindle. And it's the first book I'm reading on the Kindle, and yeah, I'm really enjoying it. It's quite unique. It's labelled as progression or levelling up fantasy, and so I've never really read anything like that before. So it's interesting going and delving into a whole new subgenre, really. And yeah, there's some really visceral and vivid and well-realised characters that I'm enjoying already. And yeah, I think it's really good. I'm just looking forward to where this world takes me. And Will White, I've heard that he gets better and better in those first few books. And so even if you don't enjoy Unsouled, apparently you should push on to book 3. And if I'm enjoying it already, I imagine that I'm on the bandwagon for a great ride and joining many others who have loved Will White's Cradle thus far. There were 2 big bookish events or channel events over the past 2 weeks. On the Brothers Gwyn, I was very lucky and honoured to feature on Dr. Fantasy Chat with Philip Chase. He very kindly invited myself and my brother Ed onto his channel to talk about books, writing, and especially focusing on our formative reads, which was so much fun to talk to. He's always great to have a chat with, is Philip. And again, he did not let down. It was absolutely brilliant. And as I said, it was an honour to be on his channel. And he's just got such insightful thoughts. And every book he talks about, it makes me go away wanting to read it immediately. And he recently read Book of the Ancestor by Mark Lawrence, so we could gush about that a bit as well, because I also love that series. And so yes, do head over to his channel. It's absolutely brilliant. I imagine all of you have seen his channel already. But yeah, it was really awesome to go over there and chat on his channel. And then the other event is the Brothers Gwyn. Me and my brother, we hosted our first live stream, which was pretty awesome. We had to grapple with tech. I think we were a few minutes late because we didn't actually know how to start it. I mean, I know we're part of the younger generation, but we're still not very tech savvy. But we got there in the end, and it was so much fun. Thank you to everyone who did go over and watch that live stream. It was great chatting to you all about books, answering all your questions, talking about our current reads, talking about previous reads, recommending books, and getting plenty of recommendations after. I had to go back and watch it again and skim through the comments and write down all the recommendations. As always, so thankful for everyone who leaves some book recommendations, and if you've got any books that are similar to anything I've talked about today, please do let me know in the comments, because I may want to check them out as well. But yes, as I said, they're the 2 big events that were on this channel or the Brothers Gwyn so far by mid-January. So now you know I love some good stats, so let's get into that. So for the channel from the 16th of December to the 15th of January, I uploaded 12 videos and 3 shorts, which is the most I've done. I like to have a bit of a backlog, so then I know that if I do have a busy week or 2, that I can still upload to the channel and not have to worry about recording and keep on schedule. And so I created quite a bit of a backlog, so I increased the videos from 2 videos a week to 3. And so yes, 12 videos and 3 shorts. I was very happy with that. And I had 15.6 thousand views, which is over double what I had in the previous month. And yeah, that's the only data I have so far, because I started on the 14th of November. So I only got 2 months worth of these kind of stats, which I need more. That's a great thing over time. You get more stats. I know I rave about stats all the time. I need to stop. But yeah, so 15.6 thousand views really blew me away. I think there was a video that did really well, the first video of January, but I'll talk about that in a minute. Next up, I have 507 more subscribers. So 507 more have joined the channel since the 16th of December. So welcome everyone who has joined the channel and is watching these videos. Hopefully you've enjoyed the content, and hopefully you enjoy the content to come and me just gushing about books, and guess what? More books. And so the most watched video was my series to start plus finish in 2023. It has 4,847 views as I'm recording this video, which is crazy. My previous, so the video that's got the most views is my introductory video, which usually get more views than that because everyone kind of checks it out as it's the first video. But since then, I think my most viewed video is 1,100 views. So to get 4,800 was absolutely mind-blowing. And I put it up. It was the first video I put up in 2023. So what a way to kick the channel off in 2023. Thank you so much to everyone who watched that video. Hopefully you enjoyed me talking about my kind of reading plans for 2023. A lot of the content so far this month has been about 2022 wrap-ups and 2023 reading plans, and I've got a few more of those left, and I'm doing a bit of a countdown of my top 30 reads of 2022 coming very soon. I think the first one will be coming out on Monday, but as I said, there's quite a few more of them to come because I love talking about the reads of last year, and it's the most books I ever read in an annual year, so I have plenty to talk about. And so yeah, that is everything I have to talk about in this mid-month update. We've talked about the 4 books I've read, the 2 books I'm currently reading. Hopefully I can get through the rest of my schedule. I'm going to be doing mid-month updates every month, but I probably won't be doing monthly summaries because I do them over on the Brothers Gwyn, and I don't want to be repeating myself on here. And of course, the Brothers Gwyn is the priority. And so if you want to see everything that I've read in December, do head over to the Brothers Gwyn. And if you want to hear everything I'd planned to read in January, you can head over to that video as well and see how it, even 2 weeks in, it's changed already, most notably with the introduction of Mayflies. But hopefully I can hit all the targets for the rest of the month. And as I said, thank you so much to everyone who's been supporting the channel and has joined the ride. Hopefully you enjoy the content to come. As I said, thank you for watching, happy reading, and stay safe.